INFPs are so darn cute, and here are 5 ways. There are a lot more than 5 ways. They're all intertwined because we're that complex and we're that cute. I've got it written down. Hi, how are y'all doing? This is Dee for Probably Insights, and I'm going to do a hybrid PowerPoint presentation with my stories. Hope it won't be too long. 5 ways INFPs are so darn cute. Number 1, we have that childlike wonder. We act like we're shy. We are shy, but we act like we're shyer in order to get our way. You know, we have that little smile, have that little blinky eye thing. You know, when little kids do that and they kind of bat their eyes and they kind of have that little sheepish smile, we do that our whole lives sometimes. And it is a way of getting our way. Yes, it's a manipulation thing. It's that childlike wonder. You ever notice how INFPs don't look their age? I think right now I look my age, but that's COVID did that to me. But I remember when I turned 18 and I had a real ID. I could buy beer and wine with it legally. You know what I'm talking about. And I get carded. I remember one time I got carded, and I got mad because I knew the guy. It's a convenience store, and I knew the guy, and I just got really mad. And he's like, well, you're mad now, but you wait a few decades, and you're going to appreciate people think that you're 10 years younger than you are. And I see that all the time on the INFP creators channels. With that, well, you don't look your age. You don't look your age. And we don't look our age, particularly the younger ones. And I read the comments all the time, and it's like, yeah, we don't. Oh, you're 40. You don't look like you're 40. You look, yeah, you do. But it's that cuteness, that little, that's cute. So that's how we're so darn cute. The second one is we are very good empaths. We're excellent listeners. Everybody knows that part, or you should if you've been around the MBTI and INFPs. You've been around INFPs, you know that, how well we listen. But what we also do, that's kind of funny and funky, is that we can turn things around. Some of us can. We all can. You need to hone in this skill. This is really cool. We turn things around to it being more of a positive when we are listening to people. An example was the other day I was with my 11-year-old granddaughter. I hadn't seen her in a long time, and I'd heard from my daughter that she had auditioned for a school play, and I think it may be the first time at this school anyway, and she froze. And this is an extreme extrovert, which does have ADHD, but extreme extrovert, and she totally froze, couldn't think of anything to say, so she was kind of down in the dumps. So when I saw her, I asked her how she did she get a part? And she said, oh, let me look online and see. We have to look on the board today and see. And she looked. She did not get a part. And I asked her about her friends. I said, anybody else not get a part? She said, no, everybody she knows got a part. And she felt really bummed. And I'm like, yeah. Instead of saying, oh, that sucks and that's terrible and that you weren't meant to do that, I said, well, look at it this way. If all of your friends got a part but you, then you're special. It must be too easy to get a part. It's really harder not to get a part. And my daughter was in the background in the kitchen in her house, and she just started laughing. I could hear her snickering. And then my granddaughter just kind of said, oh, you're so silly. And she started laughing, and she forgot totally about it. She totally forgot about it. So that's how it's so darn cute, is that we can switch things around from a negative into a positive. And yes, we are silly, but it helps other people. And she didn't think anything more about it the rest of the day, all the time I was there. Number 3, Where's number 3? Oh, we act like we know everything. Okay, and I don't mean that in a cocky way, but we can, some of us, a lot of us, I think we all can if we try. We can act like we know something about all the subjects. We can carry on conversations. We can answer any question. I know I can. I'll throw something out there, and it's up to somebody else to figure out if I'm right or wrong, and we can just go in my direction. There are a lot of people who really talk to me. I mean, a lot of people who do talk to me a lot. I'll put it that way, which are like one or two. The rest just kind of run away. But they will say, gosh, you know so much. And I just tell people, I know enough to sound ignorant. Um, if you don't know anything about the subject, then I sound like I know what I'm talking about. But if you do know about the subject, you know I don't know what I'm talking about. But I don't care. I can carry on conversations. We can carry on conversations. We can act like we know everything in a humble type way, not in a cocky way. Um, Number 4, we act like we don't know anything. Whoop, that's the reverse of what I just said. I learned this when I was a teenager. I had this thing in the theory. I theorized a lot when I was in church because I hated it. So my mind would go to philosophy. I thought, well, that's close enough to what I'm doing. So I came up with this theory thing that it's a whole lot easier to pretend you don't know something when you do than to pretend you do know something when you don't. So there's a lot that that goes on. I pretend like I don't know something. If I don't want to be bothered with somebody, I'm just like, well, yeah, I don't know anything about that, when actually I do. It keeps us out of trouble. If we get in, like when I was growing up, if I got in trouble, I don't know anything about that. I didn't hear that. Had a friend in high school that ran away, and my next door neighbor happened to be his aunt, and she was like, you know where he is, I said, I have no idea where he is. I really didn't know specifically, but I knew enough that she could find him. And I said, yeah, I don't know anything about it. He didn't want to be found. I just said, I'll just tell you he's okay, but I don't know where he is, which I really didn't know where he was. But that was, I don't think it was lying. I think it was protecting the loyalty of a friend who didn't want to be found. But I just said, he's okay, he's with people. But yeah, it's easier to know. We act like we don't know things when we really do. And I think that's why we come off as being dumb to a lot of MBTI types, more intellectual MBTI types. So I think that's why we try to be more intellectual. Don't try to be more intellectual. We just know you are, and you don't have to prove it, and just go with the flow and don't deal with these kind of folks. So it can help you get out of trouble, not knowing anything, and it can, you just don't have to deal with people you don't want to deal with, who are trying to bait you for something. And the 5th thing, and the final thing, and another thing I want to tell about act like you don't know anything is that when I was in grad school and I had second semester, I had a second part to a class, and I can't remember what the class was about, but you had to know the first part. It must have been about theories and theorists and psychologists or something like that, and that you learned in undergrad. But see, I came from an English background and a philosophy background, and we didn't study any of that. I had no clue. A lot of people in the class had no clue. So on the test, the first test we had, I had no idea what any of the questions were, let alone the answers. So I wrote a lot, and I mean a lot, about each one. I made up stories and got the papers back, and it said excellent underneath BS. It was spelled out, and then I got a B. And then the professor was like, if you have any, to the whole class, if you have any questions afterwards, make an appointment to see me. We'll go over it. And I thought, well, I don't want to fail this class. And in grad school, you can't make below a B, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I thought I needed to see. So I went and acted like I didn't know anything about anything. And I asked him, I said, I'm not understanding why I got a B when you have excellent written over here. I knew darn good and well why I got a B. I'm glad I got a B and not an F. He said, but I just wanted to get, I acted like I didn't know, and I was very serious, but I honestly did. But I went, and he laughed. He sat there in his chair, and he laughed so hard. And he said, because this is the INFP cuteness part, and he laughed so hard, and he said, the excellence is on your BS. You are excellent BSer, but you didn't know a thing about what this about you. You didn't answer any of the questions, but your BS is really excellent, so you get a B. Now get on out of here. So what I was doing, I think, now that I think about it, subconsciously what I was doing was building a bond with him, which is what we're really good at. It's like I'm going to make it, fake it till I make it. So we're going to fake it till we make it. And I wound up with a B. I passed. I eventually caught up during the semester, but he got a big kick out of it. I knew what I was doing when I went in there. I think he knew what I was doing when I went in there. And but I acted like I didn't know. I acted totally like I didn't know anything. I just don't understand. I got an excellent, but I got a B. Yeah. So that's what we do. We're so darn cute. And the fifth way we're so darn cute is that we start drama. And I don't mean that in a very vindictive way, even though it can go to the dark side, even though we do have a dark side, but just in fun. Some things I'll do around here with the senior apartments to entertain myself, because they love to gossip. It's just like high school, like Mean Girls High School, and cliques, and I'm not in any of that, and I just stay in my own apartment or I leave. But once in a while I'll throw a bit of something about myself to somebody who talks a lot, just to see if it gets around. And the second thing is to see what it gets around as, because story is going to be changing as it's told over and over again. So far I've not succeeded here. I've been here 6 years. Hasn't happened here, but has happened in my life where we just kind of throw out a little something to somebody, and then it can start a drama. It's not our drama. We planted a seed for it. It's not our drama. But people just take off and they go off with it. So that's kind of a cuteness kind of a thing that I think it is. We're so darn cute. When we say we hate drama, and we do hate drama to be sucked into it, but I think we do in all of our cuteness and all of our wonder and trying to just maneuver the world and entertain our brains and our imagination. We do stop and think about it. We do start drama. So there are my 5 ways. I know there's 10 million more. Put in the comments how you think INFPs are so darn cute. This is why we're loved, and it's also why we're hated. Depends on which side of the coin you're on. But put in the comments below. I love to hear them. These are my 5 ways INFPs are so darn cute. Stay safe.